Greetings, ladies and gentlefish, and welcome back to another video with World of Tanks replays in, from me. Now, before we just get into the video itself, a couple of things to mention. Firstly, apologies for the relative lack of videos last week. I had a bunch of videos recorded for you before realising that my microphone settings had returned to their default values, which meant it was entirely unintelligible, so all that recording time was basically wasted, and because my new job takes up quite a lot of time, I didn't have the time to re-record those videos then, so they've basically been postponed a week. That's also, for those who watch it, why my first batch of Deadpool videos are going to be relatively quiet, because of the microphone settings problem, which is now fixed, but when I recorded them, it was as it was. You can still hear my commentary because I'd set the game settings to allow that, but yeah, slightly irritating. Secondly, some of you may well have not seen me in-game for a long time. Those of you who do kind of say hello when I do turn up into World of Tanks. I came off my, self-imposed exile from the game and jumped into it. We just had the little mini patch that celebrated Wargaming's 5th anniversary, and my game crashed every damn time. So basically, World of Tanks is unplayable for me at the moment. It does make you giggle when Wargaming claims this is the year of fixes, and then they bring out the tiniest of little micro patches just to say, hey look, we're 5 years old, or the game is 5 years old, and it completely screws up my ability to play the game. So it would be really nice if Wargaming would release something that wasn't buggy as all hell. So I will probably be back to the game either when the 5-year anniversary thing is patched away, because I just can't play it at the moment, or when patch 9.15 rolls around, and hopefully I'll be able to play it then as well, assuming they don't break the game with that patch as well. So there we go. Anyway, on with this particular game. Now, some of you may have seen this game itself before. It was shown on Fiora, the Tank Girls channel, going back a little while.
Let's go!
I just haven't got around to showing it on my channel yet. This video itself is going to contain a couple of games from Cromwell Tanks, because, well, playing the Cromwell is fun, and you guys seem to agree, so I have been sent my fair share of Cromwell games. Now, first up we have a game from yours truly, from me, driving the Cromwell Berlin. This, of course, is the, for those who don't know, Tier 6 British Premium Medium Tank. It is, to all intents and purposes, a reskinned Cromwell. There are some minor differences that I've talked about in other videos, but for those of you who are wondering how it plays, it's a Cromwell. It plays like a Cromwell. It's just a premium, so you can use your Centurion tank crew in it, or whatever. And so I got my hands on this tank a little while ago now. Probably about a year ago this thing came out, I think. And because it plays so similarly to the regular Cromwell, I used that I took the opportunity to get rid of my old Cromwell. So we're in a Tier 7 game here on the Siegfried line. It's an assault game. So we have 10 minutes, well now 8 minutes 40, to go over there and kick the enemy team in the face, or capture their base, or something along those lines, and they have 10 minutes to hold out. Some people don't like this game mode, but I like having every game mode turned on for the sake of variety. It mixes things up a little bit. The only game mode I ever turned off was Confrontation. I tried it and found it to be an utter abomination, so I turned that off. Many of you may not even remember the Confrontation game mode. It was a little while ago now. Anyway, we've got off to a reasonable start in this game. The scoreline is 3-1. By we, I mean our team. I managed to so far put quite a lucky shot into a T-34-85. The aiming stats on this gun are not exactly fantastic, so it was fairly lucky to get that shot in. It wasn't aimed particularly well. Going for the shot on the Oni, but our T-34 takes the kill away before I am able to. Can't really complain too much. It's not as if I put any damage into that guy before. It's not like it was quote-unquote my kill or anything like that. But it would have been nice to get that kill for reasons that shall become apparent at the end. Scoreline is now 4-7. The enemy team have really fought back and have kicked our friends in the face. And we've used up basically a quarter of our allotted time in this game already. And sorry, Mr. Hellcat. And personally, we've only done 1 shot of damage. So this game doesn't get off to a particularly good start from a personal perspective. It does get better as time goes, I promise you. But, like I said, not the best start in the world. So I've gotten bored where I was. I know there's a T-34-85 over there, but I'm hoping that he's not going to give me too much attention. And I'm trying to go into the town to get stuck in. And there's a TOG. That's the other Tier 6 British tank, of course. Also not available for regular sale in the gift shop. And that's 100. This is a very bad situation now. The SU-100 is not using the big gun. In fact, it feels like he's using the 85, which can actually bad for me because it means his aiming stats are better. But as it is, just by rocking back and forth, I'm able to take that guy out. He seemed to get stuck, so it looked like he perhaps had bad internet connection or something. A bit unlucky for him. T-34-85, I probably should have moved forward to take advantage of my superior reload there, and I was fully expecting to die here, but as it is, maybe I killed his loader or knocked out his ammo rack, or maybe the T-34-85's reload is just that much worse than the Cromwell, I cannot remember. Whatever the actual reason, I do manage to take out the T-34-85 as well. However, scoreline reads 7-11, and I am down on, well, I'm a one-shot for pretty much anything that looks at me, and as you see in chat, I'm a little bit irritated. This should come in context. The games I've been having when I played this had just been defeat after defeat after defeat. It didn't matter what I did, the game would be a loss. So I was playing this a little frustrated, if I'm going to be honest. Anyway, just seeing if I can do something about this Hell Kitty. Oh, there he is. Hell Kitty has fired. I auto-aim and actually bounce on him just to hit his turret there. It's the only place I can bounce on that guy. Turret, gun mantlet sort of area. But the Hellcat does a bad thing and just reverses back so that I can kill him. Dicamax comes around the corner and we execute him as well. And that leaves 5 of the enemy team. Evens up the score lines just a little bit. And that's the Jagdpanzer IV. This is bad for me because, of course, I'm one shot to him, regardless of what gun he's using. Thankfully, he doesn't hit me, but I just want to play Ring of Roses with this guy. Oh, there goes one of our artillery pieces. I don't want to get shot by this fellow, obviously. There he is. Now, there's a friendly Comet over here as well. Our third teammate, of course, is an artillery piece. The Jagdpanzer IV is now in a slightly dicey situation. If he comes after me, the Comet shoots him in the bum. If he shoots the Comet, I shoot him in the bum. And as it is, he looks at the Comet. I put one shot in. I did back off because I thought he might be going this way. And the Comet takes him down. 3 plays 4. So there's a VK280. Whoa, there he is. He puts one shot into the Comet. I managed to put a shot into the VK, and then the VK rams himself to death on the Comet. Now the VK is a relatively heavy light tank, other VK. The VK2801 is a relatively heavy light tank with decent header speed on it, so it is quite good at ramming, but not at ramming tanks, you know, one weight category above it. So generally speaking, we don't want to ram a medium tank with your light tanks. That doesn't tend to end very well. Comet takes out the M6, that just leaves this VK3001P, and of course artillery, but we're not worrying about him just at the moment. I back off around the corner. Comet is going for this VK, so I want to go for him as well. I don't want the Comet fighting him alone, as he is a one-shot. I was trying to see which way the VK was facing, and I actually missed my shot, which is terrible because it costs the VK, so it costs our Comet ally his life. But we don't miss our second, and we're able to execute that VK in the end. 3 minutes left on this game. And I'm saying help here because it would be really nice if our M12 artillery piece would not sit in A1 all game. He has an engine. SPGs have an engine too. And WASD keys. You can use WASD keys to move them anyway. I'm switching to HE on the basis that if I aim my shots carefully at this Lorraine, I should be able to do a bit more damage. But it looks like our artillery ally are just going to go and stay sitting up in A1, so I'm basically going to have to cap this game. Switching back to armor piercing here because I don't think I'm really going to have the opportunity to aim my shots that carefully. And I'm just sitting here in the capture circle. He now has to come to me. And artillery is terrible on the offensive, so I'm trying to give myself every chance of being able to take out this guy. Now, French artillery is relatively mobile and aims relatively quickly for artillery, but that still doesn't mean that he aims that fast, you know. In a close range engagement, I should still have the advantage. Credit to him though, he goes for it. I flubbed my first shot because he doesn't have a fully rotated turret, and put the second.
Let's locate another target. Enemy armor is damaged.
There goes another shot, and he's a one-shot
Target
now, but,
unlocked.
you know, what can this guy do? He's in a terrible position, but credit where credit is due to Christian Soldier, which is an awesome name, by the way. To Christian Soldier in the Lorraine 15550, he makes a good go of it. He tries to reset the base, he tries to take me out. You know, he keeps fighting, and that's worthy of respect. So, well played, Christian Soldier. Well played. I'm not going to go after this guy. I'm just going to wait for him to come to me, and there we go. That's the game. We managed to polish it off in the end. So, let us go and take a quick look at those post-game stats. So, as it is, we were able to get Ace Tanker, Sharpshooter, Master Gunner, Duelist, Fire for Effect, Bruiser, High Caliber, and a Top Gun out of that. Of course, if we'd managed the kill on the Oni, that would have been a Radley Walters medal, but I really wasn't complaining with the outcome of this game, especially given the games that had preceded it. 2,633 damage done, 7 kills, 1,399 base experience. Friendly Comet also did okay, 1,200 damage, 4 kills. But generally speaking, the performances of most members of the team was a little bit lackluster. Looking at the enemy team, however, it's an even worse picture. The VK2801 did 1,400 damage, M44 1,500 damage, but their top tier, I mean, what even did they have top tier? The Oni died really early on and only did, well, shy of 400 damage, just like 1 or 2 shots. And the artillery, of course, that Lorraine, well, credit where credit's due, he tried to fight it in the end. He didn't just accept defeat. 26 shots fired, 23 hits, 22 pens for that damage count, most of which was from relatively close range. Received 3 hits, bounced none, I mean that's the Cromwell for you. 10 friendly damage as a nudged against that Hellcat earlier in the game. Spotted 4 enemy tanks, damaged 9, killed 7, and got 99 base capture points into the bargain, making a 38,000 credit profit with a regular account. That would have been basically a 60,000 credit profit if I was running a premium. Times 3 XP event for the first win of the day, so we made quite a nice amount of experience as well. So there we go. That was me taking a run out in the Cromwell Berlin. Time for another game. Also in a Cromwell, slightly different flavour. Here we go with the second game, and here we have Captain Indigo driving the regular Cromwell British Tier 6 medium tank, of course. He is platooned up with Captain Cyan. Both of these guys are formerly of the SIG clan. But they have since moved to the British Centurions. Well, a couple of clans kind of merged, and the members moved, or some such. I can't remember exactly what happened. Some of you may have seen Captain Indigo in 1 or 2 other videos I've posted up. I've platooned up with him before. The most recent video I can think of was one where we had myself in the Conqueror, Captain Indigo in his Lorraine 40T, and there was also British B in his, I think it was an E75 or something. Anyway, Indigo is in a tier 8 match, so the matchmaking is much harsher than the game I had. I was in a tier 7 game, Indigo is in a tier 8, and we're here on, is it Highway? Yes, the Highway map. This is a patch 9.12 game, just for those who are interested. So, Indigo has come up to kind of a pretty typical medium tank location. He gets spotted out by the T-34-3 and decides he really doesn't want to take a big old shot from him in return. There's a T-34-1, manages to get a shot in on him. There's also an AMX CDC over there, and once again you can see the pretty terrible aiming time on the Cromwell's gun. It's slightly worse with the Cromwell Berlin actually, but the regular Cromwell is still pretty bad. And actually, the shot he took that damaged him was from a guy called Optimus Prime. Oh dear. Not to be confused with Barrett, Optimus Prime, who is, of course, has a YouTube channel himself. But no, this is another Optimus Prime, and he's in his T-34-1. Anyway, I digress. So on the highway map, you have this sort of town over on the 0 line, and you've got this more open region over on the 1 line, which is where you tend to find the light tanks, the medium tanks, and some of the tank destroyers come to fight it out. And if you're driving a heavy tank or a more heavily armoured tank destroyer, you tend to go toward the town. Now, Indigo was trying to get a couple of shots on that M41 Walker Bulldog, unfortunately to no avail, and that shot even bounces just to add insult to injury. Like I said, if you don't let this gun aim, it really is not very accurate. When you do let it aim, the accuracy is okay, especially when combined with the pretty respectable rate of fire. So any shots that you actually, if you miss any shots, you've got another shell in the breech of the gun fairly quickly. As it is, even though he was auto-aiming there, Indigo's actually able to pick up the kill on Mr. Nice 58 in his M41 Walker Bulldog. So far, Indigo's kind of been playing a little bit of fire support, I guess, trying to pick on the softer targets on the enemy team. He's managed, well, 680 damage, closest damn it, of course, being patch 9.12. This is one of the patches where I still have XVM chunking away. But the situation here is getting a little bit dire. Captain Cyan actually dies to a Tiger II, and there's only an LTTB and Indigo here in his Cromwell. Never mind, the LTTB has gone to a better place, facing off against quite a lot of enemy tanks. Oh, low damage roll there, but lucky to bounce a return shot, so can't complain too much, and Indigo does indeed pick up the kill on that Cromwell. AMX CDC now is coming for him and completely screws that shot up. No idea what this guy's doing, maybe he's having connection problems or something, but there we go. Jagdpanther 2 in the background actually picks up the kill on that guy, and now it's the T-34-1's turn. If all these guys had come at once and not had dodgy internet, they'd have been fine. As it is, they just come one at a time piecemeal, giving Indigo enough time to put damage in and his allies enough time to finish them off and all that jazz. And now the T-34-1 can't find the gun depression to shoot Indigo. In fact, it looks like the T-34-1 is actually stock, poor guy. But there we go. He's now on very little health. Both of these tanks are a one-shot for the other. Indigo actually preloads an APCR shell here. I can kind of understand it, in as much as you want to make sure that you penetrate with your shot. Just to try and not, you know, get one of those annoying bounces that cost you your tank, essentially. Although I should point out, the T-34-1 generally you don't need APCR for with the Cromwell, especially if they're stocked, because then they don't even have the turret armour to hold up to you. And Indigo flips back to his armour piercing here, so he's not spamming APCR at people. I've seen some Cromwell drivers do that. I don't understand why. You don't need 200 pen in a tank this mobile. You really don't. The Cromwell is a fantastic machine. The 140 something pen you get with its regular armour piercing ammo is perfectly sufficient the vast majority of the time. Anyway, if we have a look at the minimap, there is a Centurion who has made his way into the friendly base, which could be problematic for the artillery. A trio, never mind, duo of heavy tanks over in the town, and of course we've still got that T-34-3 and the enemy artillery. And I would imagine, given the way that Indigo is driving and the fact that he's loading high explosive, the artillery is probably his objective. Now, loading HE against artillery is perfectly sensible, providing you pick your shots carefully. So, just because they're artillery, it doesn't mean that every bit of them is an auto pen with HE rounds. Generally speaking, if you aim for the superstructure, you can get the kill, but if you don't, that could be a little dicier. There's the artillery in question, and there you can see 23 damage. 45, as Indigo really needs to be aiming for the superstructure. 41, yes, it was at the superstructure, but it was at a bad angle. 140 there. The artillery completely flubs his one opportunity to kill Indigo. Maybe the guy was reloading or something, having just fired. And Indigo gets a little bit lucky there, but is rewarded with the artillery kill. Now, slightly dicey situation here. We have an IS-2 and a T-34-3. Fine, but as this IS-3 on the friendly team is very eager to point out, there is an enemy Centurion in the base who appears to have just reset himself, which is an interesting tactic. If you're going to cap. Oh no, there's the friendly Jagdpanther 2 still alive. I do apologise. I couldn't see him over through the Centurion silhouette. So as it is, the Jagdpanther defends the base, and that just leaves an IS-2 and a T-34-3, so a Chinese pairing. Now, Indigo's going to have some shots at the T-34-3. The T-34-3 does not have particularly good armour, except, well, the turret armour's pretty good, but the hull armour, not so much. And as you can see, when he actually hits, Indigo is penetrating this fellow without too much difficulty. Tracks the guy with that shot. And I don't know why he's not firing here.
Target acquired.
Ooh, I think he was being a bit cheeky there and just trying to save the shot in order to get the top gun. Well, whatever. IS-2 is the only guy left, and this game has really turned around. IS-2 has kind of run out of friends here, and in fact gets nukes by Beeb Destroyer 666 in his IS-3, and that was the game. So, once again, let's go and have a quick look at those post-battle results. Here we go then. That ended up being enough for Ace Tanker, Bruiser, Fire for Effect, and Top Gun there for Captain Indigo. He actually managed to rack up 3,067 damage, got 6 kills, and 1,659 base experience. Remember, a lot of that damage was to higher tier tanks. If we go back to see the list of tanks he actually damaged, you've got the T-34-3, that's tier 8, tier 7, tier 7, tier 6, tier 8, tier 6, tier 7. So most of the tanks that Indigo damaged there were tier 7 or 8, so that will boost his experience earned. He actually managed the second highest amount of damage in the game, only behind the friendly IS-3, Beeb Destroyer. And when you consider that he was a tier 6 tank in a tier 8 game and not just spamming APCR, that's a pretty impressive feat. 46 shots fired, 32 hits, 27 pens for that damage count. Just over 1,000 was at a distance of more than 300 meters. Managed to bounce one shot from the Cromwell there, which was nothing short of miraculous. Spotted 2 enemy tanks, damaged 7, destroyed 6, and also got 1,200 assistance damage into the bargain. Profit of 24,000 credits with a standard account, 44 with a premium account, and again, it was a ×3 experience event at the time when Indigo played this, so quite a nice amount of XP from that. If I were to critique any part, it would be that when you're using high explosive shells against artillery, you still have to aim your shots carefully. You want to aim them at flat surfaces of the superstructure. If you're not really going to be able to do that, you're probably better off with armor piercing, especially with these sort of 75, 76mm guns that you get at tier 6. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that pair of Cromwell games. If you did, by all means feel free to catch some of my other videos and or subscribe to my channel, and I wish you very happy hunting on that battlefield. Ciao, ciao.